Some questions hold the power to transform us. They don't just linger in our minds, they echo deep within, stirring something inside us, urging us to look beyond the surface. In Zen, these questions are known as koans, mystical riddles that challenge the mind and awaken the heart. One such question is, what is the sound of one hand clapping? This is the story of Mokurai, a young monk whose path to answering this question would guide him straight into the heart of Zen and its deepest truths. Welcome to Enlighten Zen, a place where ancient wisdom meets modern hearts. Here, we come together to listen, reflect, and grow. If you are seeking peace, insight, or simply a moment of calm, you are in the right place. Join us as we walk the path of Zen, one story at a time. Now let's begin. Once, in a quiet, peaceful village tucked away in the misty mountains of Japan, there lived a young monk named Mokurai. His name, Silent Thunder, reflected his calm nature. Yet he carried a burning passion inside him, a passion to understand the mysteries of life. There was one question that troubled him, day and night, like an unshakable cloud in his mind. What is the sound of one hand clapping? Determined to find an answer, Mokurai set out on a long journey to meet the wise Zen master, Ekaku. The road was hard, dense forests, steep mountains, but Mokurai pressed on, the question never leaving his thoughts. As he walked, the rustling leaves and the whispering winds seemed to echo his question back to him, each step a little closer to understanding. After days of travel, Mokurai arrived at Ekaku's temple. The air was filled with the fragrance of blooming cherry blossoms, and the temple itself stood serene, bathed in soft sunlight. He found the master sitting quietly under an ancient pine tree, radiating calmness and wisdom. Mokurai bowed deeply, his voice filled with a mixture of respect and longing. "Master Ekaku, please enlighten me. What is the sound of one hand clapping?" The master's eyes opened slowly, his gaze piercing yet full of peace. With the faintest of smiles, Ekaku replied simply, "Listen closely." Mokurai sat beneath the tree, feeling both awe and confusion in his heart. Day after day he tried to find the answer. He clapped his hands together. The sound was clear, sharp. He waved one hand in the air, no sound at all. He tried again and again, his arm growing tired, his spirit weary. Frustration began to take root. Finally, feeling defeated, Mokurai returned to the master. His face was tired, but his heart still burned with the need to understand. "Master," he said, his voice tinged with sadness, "I cannot hear it. How can I hear the sound of one hand?" Master Ekaku, with a soft and knowing gaze, replied, "You are listening with your ears. You must listen with your heart." Though confused, Mokurai listened. This time, he closed his eyes, letting go of his doubts. He listened not with his mind, but with his heart. The whisper of the breeze, the rustling of the leaves, the distant call of a bird, it all blended into something deeper, something far beyond words. He felt the stillness within himself, the quiet moments between the sounds, the breath of life moving through him. Days turned to weeks. Seasons changed. The cherry blossoms faded, and snow began to fall, blanketing the earth in pure white silence. But Mokurai stayed in his place, his body still, his heart wide open, listening. He listened to everything and to nothing, as the world continued to change around him. Now back to Mokurai's path. The days stretched on, and one quiet morning, as the sun rose, painting the sky in hues of gold and crimson, Mokurai heard it. He finally understood. The sound of one hand wasn't a sound at all. It was the silence between the sounds, the space in which everything exists, the present moment where everything comes together. It was the oneness of all things. He went to Master Ekaku once again, but this time he didn't speak. He simply bowed deeply, his heart full, overflowing with understanding and gratitude. The master looked at him with silent approval. In that moment, no words were needed. Mokurai had heard the unhearable. The sound of one hand is not something to be heard. It is something to be felt. It is the emptiness, the stillness, the present moment, where everything exists in perfect harmony. Mokurai's journey teaches us that wisdom is not found in the noise of the world, but in the quiet listening of our hearts. Thank you for joining us today. If this story has touched you, consider subscribing to Enlighten Zen. Let's continue to walk the path of wisdom and peace together.